Hey guys, welcome to Hip Hughes History. Today we're going to look in the next 10 to 15 minutes at polytheism, looking at 5 major world religions, including Hinduism, Shintoism, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism or Taoism. And those 5 world religions will cover kind of the basic components, the nuts and bolts, basic philosophies, the theme of the religion. So for maybe a global course, a world history course, maybe at the sophomore level at high school, an intro class somewhere, this will probably be satisfactory. Enough to get through multiple choice, maybe enough to carve out kind of a chop thematic essay. But I would forewarn you not to use these lectures or this one to really do kind of in-depth study of world religions, AP classes, college level classes. This is just going to get you, broom, started. All right, so 5 major world religions. Let's get started. Let me go see if I can find Hinduism. Hinduism, I found it. Hinduism is a good example of polytheism because in Hinduism, there's many gods and many goddesses. And you can see some up on the wall there, Shiva, lots of different images. And you might have come across some of them if you've seen different tattoos or art or, whatever. Many gods, many goddesses. But polytheism is a little harder to nail down than monotheism. If you've looked at the lecture on monotheism, it's, very easy to describe some of those religious beliefs because they share a lot in common, including the Old Testament or the belief in one God, whether it's Allah or God or the 10 Commandments or... In polytheism, it's a little harder because there's a very wide range of belief systems, but there are some commonalities. You might see the word animism on your exam. Animism is the idea, whether it's paganism or you're talking about African tribal religions or Native American religions, that everything possesses a spirit and an energy, and we live our life according to that, and that human beings... when we cross over, when we die, that world is connected to this world. Some of those ideas carry over into other polytheistic religions. Ancestral worship, right? That's one that is, highlighted in most of these religions. Animism or Buddhism, Shintoism, Taoism is honor the elderly because they will be watching over us when they cross over. It's not the end of this world, but a beginning of a new one. So let's look at some of the nuts and bolts. Like I said, not a lot, but a little bit on Hinduism. Hinduism is basically in the Indian subcontinent, India today, and it was formed, they think about 3000 BCE, before the Common Era, about 5,000 years ago, 5G, right? And basically the idea, most historians or people that have studied this believe that it was created out of cultural diffusion, that different cultures kind of cross paths, trading and nomadic and moving around in the Indian subcontinent. And those different belief systems form the roots of Hinduism. So you find a wide variety of gods and goddesses in the Hindu religion. The Hindu religion has some holy scriptures. You might see the word Veda or the Vedic scriptures, or you might see the Bhagavad Gita. So they do have written belief systems. They have temples. Many Hindus have temples at home, so they might have pictures of their ancestors or statues of gods and goddesses and candles, and they find it legitimate to pray at home in their temple or go to a Hindu temple. At the heart of Hinduism, there's kind of 2 major components. We're going to look at kind of the spiritual component and the social law and order component. But the religious component is called samsara. Samsara. Samsara is the kind of the loop of life, death, and rebirth. And this is reincarnation. You'll find this in most polytheistic religions, that you're coming back. And that your life here determines, in a sense, what you're going to come back to. At the heart of samsara and reincarnation are 2 words you probably should know, and those are karma and dharma. Karma is the idea of what you accumulate in your life through your experiences. That, for instance, if you are a gossiper, and you talk behind people's back. It's almost like every time you do that, you're putting out bad karma. It's like picking up a rock and putting it in your pocket. Like that karmic rock kind of weighs you down, and it stays with you until you learn that lesson not to gossip. That you have to have some type of, through your dharma, through your life experiences, through your path, you have to come across these experiences that alleviate that karma, that get rid of that karma. And it's that belief in karma and dharma and kind of that predetermination that allows for Hindus to believe, not all believe, but that created the caste system. This is almost like justified by karma and dharma, that you're born into a class, a caste, a societal role, and that your previous lives have led you into that role. So you can see that there's a group not even in the triangle. Oh man, those are the untouchables. The untouchables, which it's outlawed today. It's illegal to use that term and to cast people as untouchables today. I'm sure it still goes on, customary, but untouchables were believed to be kind of lots of bad karma. They must have deserved to be born like that. So you have untouchables. I'm going to butcher some of the vocabulary words, but you'll see them on the wall hopefully here. The Sudra, which is the commoners. That's most people, the masses, the peasants, the worker bee. You have the Vyasya, the landowners. That's kind of the next notch up. We keep moving up that caste system, and you're being born into more comfortable, better roles in a sense because of your karma, and that's your dharma. We have the Kshatriya. Oh man, I'm doing the best I can. That's the war class. And finally up on top, the Brahmin class. Those are the holy people, the people that are priests, Hindu priests that have done something very good in order to be, born into that caste system. So that's basically Hinduism. Many gods, many goddesses. They believe in reincarnation, which is samsara, this loop that we talked about, being born, died, reborn. That you carry your karma into your dharma, your life's mission, and that justifies the caste system. And definitely, if you remember anything, remember there are untouchables in the caste system, and if you can remember Brahmin on an essay, the holy class, you're probably doing pretty good. So let's look at another polytheistic religion, and I'm going to go see if I can go find it right now. Buddhism. Buddhism is a major religion in India and in China today, and Buddhism comes after Hinduism. Buddhism, in a sense, shares many beliefs that the Hinduism faith accepts, including karma and reincarnation. So let's look at some of the basic vocabulary you're going to find with Buddhism. Buddhism has a founder. It has somebody who is the Buddha, and Siddhartha Gautama, I'm going to mispronounce some of the names, is the Buddha. And the story is that the Buddha was a prince, and that the prince was in the Brahmin class, the highest class in the caste system, and that during a parade or a venture outside the castle walls one day, he had seen a leper, an untouchable, somebody who was in the bottom class. And being shielded from all of that misery, pain, and suffering for so long, it kind of woke Buddha up. It kind of shocked him into developing these philosophies and these religious foundations that we're going to talk about. So at the heart of Buddhism is kind of the idea that life is suffering, that life is pain. And there's something called Four Noble Truths. And Buddhists just accept that these are truths. And we'll find that they're going to come up with an eightfold path, that if you follow the path and you know these truths, that is Buddhism. You'll notice I'm not going to talk a lot about gods and goddesses. That's not really the center of the Buddhist faith. They're not thinking about so much worshiping a god or a goddess, but they're rather going through how they're going to live their life on earth, and that will be taken care of in reincarnation as they strive towards. See, they have something to strive towards, which is no matter what you're born as, whether you're born poor or rich, that if you live this life of helping others and of living these Four Noble Truths and this eightfold path, that you can achieve something called nirvana. And that will end the cycle of reincarnation. That, in a sense, is their heaven, that they do not have to come back to this life of suffering. In a sense, in Buddhism, earth is hell, and that the way you conduct yourself in hell is how you get out. So let's look at the Four Noble Truths and the eight ways, the pathway to nirvana. So basically, the first one we've already talked about. Life sucks. Life is full of pain and misery. And that's the first truth. The second truth is that pain is caused by human desire. That our want of money, or our want of possessions, or our want of lust creates pain that others feel. So basically, the third truth is, if you know that, then if you end desire, if you end human want, then you can end human suffering. And the fourth noble truth is that if you follow this eightfolded pathway, that you can end suffering, achieve nirvana, and be a good Buddhist. So let's look at the wheel of life, right? The wheel of life is the 8 steps as a Buddhist that you take in order to achieve nirvana. You still believe in karma. You still believe that your actions have consequences, whether in this life or in another life. But you don't believe in that caste system, that rigid law and order kind of structure. So number 1 on the wheel is you make that realization, and that suffering is created by desire. We've said that already. Number 2 is that you should be selfless in this world. Once you realize that your desire creates suffering, you should be selfless. You should live a life where you love everybody, that you see beyond their negatives, and that you live a life that is selfless. Number 3 would be that you do not lie and you do not speak without cause. And especially the speaking part. Monks are kind of quiet. Buddhist monks and Buddhists in general will listen a lot, and that they will really think about what they say, because their words mean so much, and that is part of their karma. So to be very conscious of the words that you speak. The fourth is that you shall not kill, you shall not steal. Basically the 10 Commandment idea in the 4th step, that you should not do what they call unrighteous acts. And I'm sure that we could probably come up with a lot of those. It's kind of like rules in my room. One of them is don't be an idiot. And that covers a lot. So be righteous, right? Number 5 is do not do things that promote evil. So, for instance, if you are in the movie industry, and a good Buddhist might not be able to make an X-rated film, because that's promoting, in their minds, unrighteous behavior. Number 6 is to promote that righteousness, to be a salesman for goodness, in a sense. Not to be, like, in a sense, someone who's trying to convert you to Buddhism, but just to be somebody that speaks up for truth. Maybe for civil rights, or to helping poor people. To be a spokesman for good behavior, in a sense, or righteous acts. Number 7 is to be, I think I did 6, right? Number 7 is to always be aware. To be aware of not only your physical condition, to be aware of how you feel, but to be aware of your emotions. Because your emotions can sometimes, a Buddhist would believe, kind of make you desire, or create, those addictions to the world. So to always to keeping them in check by knowing how you're feeling. And the 8th step, the last step, as you try to achieve nirvana, would be learn to meditate. Good Buddhists believe that it's actually when you meditate and you find kind of, not when you're thinking things, but when you're not thinking things. When you quiet your mind to a place where there's space between the thoughts, that's where you can achieve truth and consciousness, and achieve eventually nirvana. So I hope you have enough for Buddhism, right? Buddhism, China, India, shares many of the beliefs of Hinduism, but also has these 4 noble truths, these 8 steps to nirvana, and they believe that. All right, I'm going to go find another one. We have to kind of speed this up a little bit, but we've done 2 big ones, Hinduism and Buddhism. Let me go see if I can find another one.